In the previous video, we have seen what are multi-dimensional arrays in Java. So this is completed. In this video, we will see some interview questions on Java. The first question is, what is the difference between length and length method in Java? So what is the difference between length and length method? If you take length, this is an instance variable in arrays object. This is an instance variable which holds the length of the array. That means the number of elements in an array. For example, let's say I have an integer array like this. Int arr1 equals to, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is an integer array. If you see this array, this length, this instance variable holds the length of the array. That means the number of elements in the array. So in this case, it is 4. But if you take this length method, this comes in strings. So using this length method, we can get the number of characters including spaces in strings. For example, let's say I have a string here. So which is string str1 equals to, let's say, Subbu Java. So this is what I have. So the number of characters including spaces in this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there are 10 characters. So if you apply str1 dot length method, then this will return 10. So length is an instance variable in arrays and it holds the length of the array. That means the number of elements in an array. Length method is applied for strings, which using this method we can get the number of characters including spaces in an array. So this is the difference between length and length method. So length, in string class we have length method which is used to return the number of characters in a string. So the example is str.length. Length. So length is an instance variable in arrays which will return the number of values or objects in an array. So we have string days is equal to Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it will return 6. The length instance variable holds a value of 6 because the length of the array is 6 here. There are 6 elements in this array. So that is the difference between length and length method. Can you change the size of an array once you created? Let's say I have created an array, something like, let's say I have created a string array. So string str equals to new string of 5. So the question is, can we change the size of the array once we instantiated this array? No, we cannot change this one because array size cannot be changed. So that is a disadvantage in arrays. That's why we got collections in Java. So which we will discuss later. But for now, just remember that the length of the array cannot be changed. How to access array elements in Java? So this one we have already seen this one in many examples. We access the array elements using index. So and the index starts from 0. Let's say I have an array arr1. So I can access the elements like arr1 of 0, arr2 of, sorry, this is arr1, arr1 of 1, like this. I can access the elements of the array using index. So where does array stored in memory? So we have already seen that an array is an object. So when we create an array, that means we are creating an object. Objects are always stored in the heap memory. So whether you create an array in a method or in a block anywhere, since this is an object, this is always created in the heap memory. So array is created in the heap space of JVM memory. Since array is an object in Java, even if you create array locally inside a method or block, object is always allocated memory from heap. Can you store a string into an array of integer in Java? That means the question here is, let's say I have created an integer array, something like this, int arr1 equals to new int of 5. So I have instantiated an array like this. The question is, can you store a string into this array of integers? Can we store a string? The answer is no, because arrays are collection of similar type of elements. We cannot store a different type of element and it will give a compilation error. Let's see the example for this one. I am creating a new class here and the class name is store different element and I am using main method. Click on finish and I am saying I am creating a new integer array here. So int arr1 equals to new int. I'll directly I'll instantiate this array with 5 elements and this is an integer array. Now let's try to store a string into this one. So arr1 of 0 equals to, I'll say Subbu, and it will give a compilation error, and you can see that here it is showing an error. So and the error is type mismatch, cannot convert string into int. So that is the error. And the next one is, can you change the size of an array once you create it? No, we cannot change the size. So just like that, here we have instantiated an integer array with size 5. So the question is, can we change it to 6 or 7, something like that? The answer is no, we cannot change the size of an array once we create that. What is array index out of bounds exception? So we have already seen this one in the previous videos. Array index out of bounds exception is when we try to get a value from an index in an array which doesn't exist, then we get this array index out of bounds exception. Array index out of bounds exception comes when your code try to access an invalid index from a given array. So in this example, let's say I have created an array with 5 elements, but if I try to access an element from the array from a 6th index, then we will get array index out of bounds exception, because 6th index doesn't exist in even 5th index or 6th index doesn't exist in this array. That's when we get the array index out of bounds exception. Next one is, what is array store exception? So we have already seen an example for this one in the previous videos. Array store exception comes when you have stored an element of type other than the type of array. That means I have created an array of objects. So int object arr1 equals to, I'll say I am storing a string object. So new string of 5. But if I try to store let's say arr1 of 0 equals to, if I try to store an integer object into this one, new integer of 1, then it will throw array store exception. Array store exception comes when you have stored an element of type other than the type of the array. Here the type of the array is an object array which is of the type string, but we are trying to store an element of integer object. That's when we get this error, exception. What is a two-dimensional array in Java? A two-dimensional array is nothing but an array of arrays in Java. So we can declare a two-dimensional array with 3 rows and 3 columns as int, and then 2 square brackets, and then some name to the array, and then new int of 3. How can you iterate over an array in Java? So we can we have seen 2 methods for this one. One is using a normal for loop and another one is using an enhanced for loop or a for each loop. So using these two methods, we can iterate over an array in Java. How to sort elements in an array? So we have already seen this one. We have to use arrays.sort method to sort elements in an array. Next one is how to search an array to check if an element exists. So the first method is we can use a for loop, normal for loop. We have seen an example for this one. And the second method is arrays.binary search method. But before using this arrays.binary search method, we have to sort the array. So before using this one, we have to sort the array. Otherwise, this arrays.binary search method won't give the right result. Can we use equals to copy an array into another array? So in the previous videos, we have seen different methods to copy an array into another array. And in one of those videos, we have discussed why we should not use equals to copy an array into another array. The reason is, let's say I have created an array and the memory space will be allocated in the heap memory at some point, at some position. And let's say this array is ARR1. Now, if I copy this one into a new array using ARR2, then no new memory will be created in the heap. What happens is it points to the same memory location. So we cannot use equals to method to copy an array into another array. And if we do that, let's say if I copy an element, an array using equals to method, what happens is, since these both point to the same memory, if I change an element in ARR2, then this will change the element, the same element in ARR1 also. Let us see an example for this one. I am creating a new class here and the class name is copy array and I am using main method. Click on finish, and here I am creating an array, an integer array, int ARR1 equals to, I'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'll create another array, int ARR2 equals to, I'll directly copy this array, okay, using equals to method. So int ARR2 equals to ARR1. So now let's print the values of ARR1 and ARR2. So I'll say for, I'll use an enhanced for loop. So ARR1 and then System.out.println of I. And similarly for the second one, I'm using the same thing, but I will use ARR2. And now let's run this one and see if this prints the values of ARR1 and ARR2 Java application. So you can see that the values of ARR1 are printed from 1 to 5 and then the values of ARR2 are printed from 1 to 5. But now let us say if I change the value of one of the elements of ARR2, so ARR2 of 0, I am changing the first element to 100. So I have changed this one. So let's run this one and see what happens. Run as Java application, proceed, and you can see that the second element, that means ARR2 of 0, the first element in the second array is changed, but you can also see that the first element in the first array is also changed. The reason is, as we discussed earlier, when we copy an array using equals to method, it won't really copy the elements of the first array into the second array. What happens in that case is, the second array will be pointed to the same memory location as that of the first array. That's why if we change an element in one of the arrays, then the same element in the second array also will change. So we have to use the copy methods like object.clone, arrays.copy of, arrays.copy of range. So all those methods we have to use to copy the elements of one array into another array. So can we use equals to copy an array into another array? We cannot use equals to copy an array into another array. Arrays are mutable, and when we use equals to copy an array, it won't really copy the array, but the second array points to the same memory area of the first array. Since arrays are mutable, if we change a value in an array, it changes the value in the second array also. That's why we should not use equals to method to copy one array into another array. How to copy an array to another array? So we have discussed these four methods in the previous videos. One is object.clone method to copy an array into another array, and second one is system.arrayCopy, third one is arrays.copyof, and fourth one is arrays.copy of range. So these are the four methods we can use to copy one array into another array. So in this video we have seen some interview questions on arrays. If you want to download the document for this one, you can go to my repository at github.com/suppustech and then go to Selenium-Java-tutorials, and this particular tutorial starts with number 22M, and this is the document which is Java arrays-interview questions. You can download this document. In the next video we will start with collections framework, and we will see what is a collections framework and what are the different types of interfaces and classes that were implemented based on this collections framework.